like to introduce Tori Galata, who is president of RCR, and thank him personally for allowing us to be here.
Don, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. On behalf of the 530 employees at Richard Childress Racing and Richard himself, I want to welcome you all to Richard Childress Racing today. RC is sorry that he couldn't be here this morning. He's traveling and he's out of town. But before I get off the podium, I'm going to take a picture of all of you guys and send it to him, because he'd be really proud to see all of you here today, and what a great turnout we've got. Richard is a huge supporter of the military and also a huge supporter of our Second Amendment rights. So, as I said, he'd be really proud to see all of you here today. You know, today, Pearl Harbor Day, serves as a solemn reminder of the importance of vigilance and military strength in America. And today is an especially important day, being the 75th anniversary. But it also serves as a great opportunity to say thank you to our veterans. And so I want to do that this morning. I want to say thank you to all of you for your service. And it's become popular in America to say thank you for your service. But I also want to say thank you for your sacrifice. I don't think that anybody knows the types of sacrifices that all of you have made, and even as importantly, all of your families have made. But I just want to say thank you for those sacrifices, because it is those sacrifices that allow us to do and enjoy all of the things that we do here in the United States. And everybody here again at Richard Childress Racing is really really proud of what you've done and the opportunities that it gives us all as Americans. So thank you for your service and for your sacrifices.
Thank you, Tori. And Tori is a veteran, by the way. So thank you for your service too, Tori. And here is Linda Darden, our president and CEO of Hospice and Palliative Care Center and Rowan Hospice and Palliative Care.
Thank you, Don, and thank you, Tori. And I do want to echo the thanks to everybody at Richard Childress Racing as well. You have really put in the effort this morning and helped us to adjust to a growing crowd, and we really do appreciate that hard work. As Don said, I'm president of Hospice and Palliative Care Center and Rowan Hospice and Palliative Care. We cover 13 county regions, so we go north to Stokes and Surrey County, west out to Wilkes, south to Rowan and Stanley County. This is really in the heart of the area that we serve, and our heart really is here. We provide care to those facing advanced illness and end of life. We educate about the choices individuals have through advanced care planning and when they're facing serious illness. And we provide grief counseling services to anybody who needs it throughout our region. We believe in helping people to carry out their wishes when they're facing serious illness. We believe in honoring those we have lost and in honoring a life well lived. We believe in making every day the very best that it can be. And these veteran coffees fit within our beliefs. Some of you have heard us talk a little bit, as Tori did, about the start of these coffees 2 years ago. What happened was, I'd love to tell you that we had this brilliant plan, that we had this vision that we were going to host some coffees, we were going to have one, and then we'd have a few more, and they would grow, and they would culminate in us having coffee with 500 people at Richard Childress Racing. That would be a great story, but that's not what happened. What happened was we saw a need, and we responded. There was a need for people to gather, to honor our veterans, to educate about services that are available to our veterans, to thank our veterans, and just for fellowship. So we responded, and this is what's happened. The coffees have grown, and you have responded. I like to think that that's something that all of us in the room have in common, is responding when there is a need. The veterans responded when there's a need. Our current military have responded. The agencies that serve our veterans respond. Sponsors and organizations like Richard Childress Racing respond. And I just think that's important. It speaks to the heart of who we are and what we do. Today, on the 75th anniversary of the attack at Pearl Harbor, we're here to honor those who serve, those who survived, and those who died. It is with great respect that we are here today, and from my heart, I do say thank you to all of you who served. Thank you for your sacrifices, as Tori said, and please enjoy this program in memory of the attack on Pearl Harbor. Thank you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you so much. If you'll please stand if you're able when your branch is sung, it would be our honor. The United States Army. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the Army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the Army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the Army's on its way. Count off the cadence loud and strong. Wherever you go, you will always know that the Army goes rolling along. The United States Marines. the United States Air Force. Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Here they come, zooming to meet our thunder. Atom boys, give the gun. Down we dive, spouting our flame from under, off with one hell of a roar. We live in fame or go down in the flame. Ain't nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force. The United States Coast Guard. So here's the Coast Guard marching song. We sing on land or sea, through surf and storm or howling gale, I shall our purpose be. Semper Paratus is our guide, our fame and glory too. To fight, to save, or fight to die, I, Coast Guard, we are for you. Do we have any Seabees here today? We're the Seabees of the Navy. We can build and we can fight. We'll pave our way to victory and guard it day and night. And we promise that we remember the 7th of December. We're the Seabees of the Navy, bees of the 7 seas. Do we have any merchant marines here today? All right, we have a World War II merchant marine right here. Heave ho, my lads, heave ho. It's a long, long way to go. It's a long, long pull with our hatches full, braving the wind, braving the sea, fighting the treacherous foe. Heave ho, my lads, heave ho. Let the sea roll high or low. We can cross any ocean, sail any river. Give us the goods and we'll deliver. Damn the submarine. We're the men of the merchant marine. Thank you all so much for your service to this country.
We want to recognize our World War II veterans first. We have a lot of them right here in the middle. Would all of our World War II veterans please stand up? Thank you all for saving the world when you were teenagers, by the way. It's amazing. Our Korean veterans, would you please stand up? Thank you. And we have one World War II veteran who is also a Korean veteran over here. Our Vietnam, all of us, stand up. Welcome home. And our World War II veteran over here, who was a Korean veteran, was also a Vietnam veteran. So, right? You are a slow learner. Okay, Cold War. Berlin, Germany, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and other. Would you all stand up? Thank you. And we have a lot of double dippers and not many triple dippers, but double dippers too. Okay, the Balkans. Any Balkan war? Okay. Panama, Grenada. We usually have some of you folks. There we go. Okay, Desert Storm was 25 years ago. It doesn't seem like it. Desert Storm. Thank you all. Iraq, Afghanistan. Thank you. Thank you.
For most of you, if you know who I am, I'm Brigadier General retired Bud Martin, and I'm the chairman of the North Carolina Military Affairs Commission. And I live here in Davidson County, the big city of Midway. But I just wanted to take a time to also thank all of you all for your service and tell you that I'm speaking, I will say, in behalf of Governor Pat McCrory and thanking you for all you've done for our great nation and our great state. We're going to continue to work hard, many of you have heard in the commission, to support our veterans and our active service members here in North Carolina. And of course, to be honest with you, we don't know exactly what's going to happen in the future here, because he will be leaving, of course, as you know, and we'll be getting a new governor, and how that will impact the commission, we'll just have to find out, because like myself as the chairman and other members, we are appointed by the governor. So we'll just see what happens here in the future. So there's a little bit of turmoil, obviously, but I want to assure you this, that we have some wonderful people on the commission, and we're going to continue to do everything we can to fight for our veterans and for our service members. And a good example is I'll be traveling to Seymour Johnson. You've heard me talk about this. The Air Force will be coming down and doing their final kind of community meeting on the 15th of this month to fight for getting the new KC-46 Alpha refueling aircraft at Seymour Johnson. We feel very comfortable we're going to get that, but we're going to show a force of our General Assembly, your chairman, the Secretary of Military and Veterans Affairs. We're all going to be there, and we're going to be speaking on behalf of our great state.
James M. Scott is the author of Target Tokyo, the Jimmy Doolittle Raid, and the Raid That Avenged Pearl Harbor. And he is our guest speaker, and I've seen a little bit of his talk on YouTube, and it's awesome. You're going to love it. It wasn't easy. All these things now, looking back, you think, well, okay, it just happened, and we won, and all that. That wasn't the case. There were a lot of blood, sweat, and tears involved in all this, and a lot of people across the world paid a huge price for the winning World War II. But James M. Scott, I would like to introduce you and welcome you to our Veterans Coffees. This one's a little larger than most of them, but we're glad to have you here and looking forward to your program. Thank you.
Hope that doesn't fall down. Don, thank you, and good morning, everyone. It's an honor to join you all this morning on the 75th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor, an attack that launched America into a war that would span 1,347 days, that would see 12 million men and women in uniform, and at its height would consume 96 cents of every federal dollar spent. So it's an incredible undertaking. And to see all the World War II veterans that are out here today, I talk to a number of different veteran groups each year, but this is truly incredible. Not just the men and women from World War II, but all of the service members from Korea, Vietnam, from Iraq, and Afghanistan. To see a gathering like this with probably over 600 people is truly inspiring. And so before I start, I would like to just say thank you all for your service. It's a privilege and an honor to be here, and also the country is grateful to you all for everything that you have done. I'd also like to thank Richard Childress Racing and Mike Brown for everything they've done to get me up here and put me up last night, to Don and his wonderful organization, and also to my dear friend from high school, Catherine Talbot Ross, who reached out to me earlier this year and invited me to come up and spend this morning with you all. So to you all, I say thank you very much for having me up. The Doolittle Raid was America's answer to the attack on Pearl Harbor, a surprise attack on Tokyo executed just 4 months after the Japanese strike on Hawaii. It was a virtual suicide mission. 16 bombers, crewed by 80 young men, flew a one-way mission to pummel Japan's factories, warehouses, shipyards, and then escaped to free China. But it was much more than just a bombing raid. The raid was a powerful tonic needed to rally a shell-shocked nation, to assure the U.S. public in its darkest hour that in the end, America would prevail. America would win. The effect the raid had on this country 77 decades ago was profound. Americans were so moved by the heroism of these airmen that a war bond poster signed by Mission Commander Jimmy Doolittle fetched a staggering $4 million in 1942. To put that into perspective, that's the equivalent of almost $58 million today. A town in Missouri went so far as to change its name to Doolittle in his honor. And of course, the raid prompted even greater effects on the direction of the war. The Japanese, in the summer of 1942, so outraged, they made an ill-fated grab for Midway, a disastrous naval battle in which they lost 4 aircraft carriers in a single day and shifted the balance of power in the Pacific back in favor of the United States. And of course, the Chinese paid a significant price as well. Outraged over the raid, Japan launched a retaliatory campaign against China that killed an estimated 250,000 men, women, and children that summer, prompting comparisons to the rape of Nanking. All of these things, one raid. 16 bombers crewed by 80 young volunteer airmen. That is what makes the Doolittle raid one of the most incredible stories of World War II. Now, the Doolittle raid really began 75 years ago today. In the pre-dawn hours of that Sunday, December 7th, 6 Japanese aircraft carriers, at the time the largest carrier strike force ever put to sea, cut through the dark swells 230 miles north of Pearl Harbor. Throughout the carriers, Japanese airmen rose early and dressed in clean loincloths and pressed uniforms, pausing alongside Shinto shrines to pray for victory and sip sake before heading topside to their planes. The faint light of dawn punctured the morning clouds as the carriers increased speed and swung into the wind. 183 fighters, bombers, and torpedo planes roared off the carrier's decks in the first wave, followed by a second strike of 167 planes. The attack on Pearl Harbor was more than just a raid, but the dramatic opening act of war against the United States, a surgical strike designed to mortally wound America's powerful Pacific fleet anchored in the cool Hawaiian waters. The fate of our empire, Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, the architect of the raid, warned, depends upon this nation. That Sunday morning, American forces slumbered. Troops had been out the night before, cruising down Honolulu's famous Hotel Street, lined with tattoo parlors, pinball joints, and shooting galleries. Others had watched Clark Gable as a frontier con man in the movie Honky Tonk, or attended the finals and the battles of the band at the Pearl Harbor's Block Recreation Center. When Japanese planes appeared in the skies over Pearl Harbor this Sunday morning, America was caught completely off guard. This is a photograph of the opening shots of the war. You can actually see Ford Island there, and you can see the spray coming up from some of the early torpedo strikes. Pearl Harbor resembled a parking lot this morning with 94 ships in port, almost half of the entire Pacific fleet. Pilots zeroed in on the 9 battleships moored side by side. This is a Japanese photograph that shows the oil spilling out of the battleships Oklahoma in the top right and the West Virginia. Japanese strategists had perfected the plan of the attack down to the use of wooden torpedo fins needed to run in Pearl Harbor's shallow waters. Here, a boat attempts to rescue sailors from the battleship West Virginia, which was hit by as many as 9 torpedoes that morning. The smoke from the burning ships darkened the horizon for miles. In addition to targeting the Navy's warships, Japanese forces zeroed in on Hawaii's airfields, including the Naval Air Station at Pearl Harbor, ultimately destroying more than 200 planes. The attack on Pearl Harbor destroyed or damaged 18 ships, including 8 battleships. Pictured here is the capsized battleship Oklahoma. And of course, the human toll proved horrific. Casualties among soldiers, sailors, Marines, civilians soared to more than 3,500, a figure that counted 2,403 killed.
I heard that we had a 100-plus-year-old World War II veteran here. Is that true? Would you stand up so we? Yeah.